There's a point where you start to realize what you're building isn't just about strategy, it's about tactics. It's how you think, how you see things before they exist, and how you can hold that vision before seeing proof of it yet. I remember earlier on, there were moments where nothing on the outside matched where I knew things were going. The numbers didn't reflect it yet. The traction wasn't there yet. And if you're just looking at reality, you'd probably say it wasn't working. But internally, I knew exactly where it was going. That disconnect between what you see and what you believe, that's what a lot of people miss. It's where they start adjusting their vision down to match reality instead of holding the vision and bringing reality up to meet it. I remember reading Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, years ago, and one line really stuck with me. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Now, at first, it sounds like one of those quotes that you've heard 100 times. But when you actually start building something, you realize it's not motivational, it's practical. Because everything you see around you, every business, every brand, every system, it all started as a thought. Someone else thought of it before it existed. And then they kept that thought in their mind long enough to make it real. And then you come across Neville Goddard, and he talks about living in the end. He said, assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. And again, that can sound abstract if you haven't experienced it. But what it really means is making decisions from the place of where you're going, not where you are. That's a very different way to operate because most people make decisions based on current circumstances, their current bank account balance, their current traction, their current results. And when you do that, you stay in a loop. You keep recreating the same level over and over again. The shift happens when you start making decisions based on the outcome that you're committed to, not the situation that you're currently in. Now, that doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means not letting it define your ceiling. I've personally seen this firsthand. The same person with the same capabilities will get completely different results depending on what they believe is actually possible. Because belief drives action. Action drives consistency. And consistency is what produces outcomes. So if the belief is limited, the actions will be limited, even if the opportunity isn't. This is where most people get it wrong. They think that manifestation is just thinking positive or visualizing something once in a while. It's not. It's alignment. When your thoughts, your decisions, and your actions are all pointed in the same direction consistently over time, that's when things start to line up and compound because there's no internal conflict anymore. You're not second guessing every move. You're not pulling back when things get uncomfortable. You're moving in one direction. I can think of multiple points in building businesses where the logical move based on current numbers would have been to slow down, to play it safe, to wait for more certainty. But if we did that, we would have never created what we ended up creating. The growth came from making decisions ahead of the results, not after them. Now, that's uncomfortable for a lot of people because there's no guarantee in the moment. There's just conviction. And that's really what this comes down to. Most people don't fail because of lack of opportunity. They fail because they're never fully committed to a vision. They stay half in. They contemplate, reevaluate. They wait for validation before they move. And by the time that validation shows up, the opportunity is already obvious, and the upside is smaller for them. The people who build anything meaningful, they move before it's obvious. They see it before it's proven. Another shift that really changed things for me was realizing that building something at scale requires you to become the person capable of holding that vision, not just chasing it. Because it's one thing to say that you want to build something big. It's another thing to actually operate at that level every day in how you think, how you make decisions, what you tolerate, what you focus on. If your identity doesn't match the level you're trying to reach, you'll keep pulling yourself back to what feels familiar. So instead of asking, how do I get there? The better question becomes, who do I need to become to get there? Because once that shifts, your actions follow. Your standards change. Your consistency changes, and the results eventually catch up. Now, this doesn't mean that everything magically works out all the time. It doesn't mean that you don't run into problems or things don't take longer than expected. It just means that you stop interpreting those things as signs to quit. You start seeing them as part of the process. Because if the vision is clear enough and the commitment is strong enough, you keep moving anyway. So when people ask me about mindset or manifestation or reality creation, this is what I tell them. I believe it's the foundation of building businesses, because before anything exists externally, it has to exist internally, clearly, consistently, and without you backing off of it every time reality doesn't match it immediately. Now, if you're building something right now, whether it's a business, a brand, or something bigger, the question that I'd ask yourself is this: what are you actually committed to creating? And what are your thoughts? What are your decisions? And are your actions aligned with that? Because once those line up, things start moving in a very different way. And that's when you stop reacting to reality and start creating it.